Hello, welcome to my channel. So I'm gonna, I hate this phrase, but kill a bunch of birds with one stone. I got requests to talk about what I like to eat for like lunches and to do more meal preps. I also got a request for workout videos. I'm just not your girl, but we can do more meal prep videos. I actually have an idea to do a bunch. But basically I was planning on doing a different recipe originally, but I've just finished filming, I think, like 6 different videos, and I'm kind of in filming mode and on a roll, so I figured why not go with it. I'm getting really ambitious here. The baby might wake up while I'm doing this, but here we are. So I'm actually making a recipe that I've never tried before. It's a pasta salad and I'm making it for dinner, and it's so simple. The thing is, like, I screenshot this from Instagram and I held my finger down when I did it. I have no idea who this recipe is actually from or where they got it from. But we're gonna go with it. We're gonna see how it turns out. So it's a pasta salad. That's something that I loved doing for lunches toward the end of the school year because I could keep them in my lunchbox. They would stay cool and I did not have to heat them up. It's so frustrating. We used to be able to have microwaves in our classroom. Then we got a new director of facilities, and they're like, yeah, that's a violation of the fire code. So we weren't allowed to keep microwaves in our classroom anymore. And so now it's just easier if I have things I don't have to heat up, because using a microwave means for me going to the faculty room, that's like the closest microwave to where I am, and then a bunch of people are also there waiting to use the microwave as well, so that gets really frustrating. So the recipe is super simple. I threw into the pot an entire box of veggie rotini. I am dicing a cucumber. I also have red and green pepper and cherry tomatoes that I have sitting in that green thing in the sink, and then like the little mozzarella pearls. So you just mix all that together and you dump a bunch of Italian salad dressing on it. So I think I mentioned I'm doing this for dinner for tonight, but this is something that if it's good, I would totally make this for a lunch. So I wanted to make today's video more of a chatty video, do some updates. I have a list of things I wanted to talk about, just things that have, I don't know, that I just want to talk about, I guess. So the first thing was interactive notebooks, because I've been getting this question a lot, and it was about whether or not I was using interactive notebooks this current school year, and I actually wasn't. I wish I had, but I decided at the beginning of the year not to, because I was going out on maternity leave, and I feel like, I don't know, I just felt like it wouldn't be fair to have someone come in to have to take over my class for a couple weeks and force them to do interactive notebooks. And I don't know that that's really the right mindset to have had at the time, but that was just how I felt, and that's what I went with. And then at the same time, we weren't given very clear guidance about what was happening with our students. Like, we were kind of told, you know, masks were required for a long time this school year, and you know, we're going to try to social distance, but it's really not possible. So I started the year off with my classroom in rows, which I absolutely hated. And I think it was maybe like 2 weeks after I came back from maternity leave that I put them back into tables, because I couldn't take it. And I don't know, there was no clear guidance on whether or not we could put them in tables, and we don't always get a lot of guidance. And I am someone that likes to have guidance like that. We just get trusted, like, in general, to make our own decisions and to do the right thing. And if, you know, it's not the right thing, we'd hear about it. But for the most part, things like that, our admin just trusts us. So I put them back in tables and it was fine. That was quite the tangent. But like, I just didn't know about, you know, the supplies needed for interactive notebooks, about sharing them, if that was going to be okay, or how that was going to go for the year. So I just didn't do them, and I really missed them. And I feel like my students would have done better if we had been using interactive notebooks this year. So basically just dicing up the cucumber. I sliced it first, now just cutting it into little squares. I feel like, I mean, this is one of the many areas where being a perfectionist works against me, because I try to get the slices to be pretty perfect, and it makes cooking stuff like this take longer than it probably should. So someone taught me this, I forget who, someone I was watching on Instagram, and it like stuck. When you cut a pepper, like I forever would be doing like cutting around this in a circle and then just making it really complicated. They said start with the bottom and cut from here down, cut it into fourths, and then you can just kind of pull it apart. So I'm just not going to be changing the camera around just to get the right angle for it, but I'll show you what I can. So I cut basically like across, and then you just kind of pull it apart, and then it makes it so much easier to get the seeds and stuff out. So that tip has been life-changing. The only downside is you kind of lose out on some of this, but that was always a pain when you had to chop it up anyway. So I'm gonna edit this for time, but the pasta finished. So now it's in that green thing draining. I took the tomatoes out, and then I ran cold water over it. I remember reading somewhere on the internet that you're not actually supposed to rinse pasta with cold water when it's done cooking. I don't know, there was other instructions there too. But since this is meant to be like a cold pasta salad, I did just rinse it with cold water. Now the recipe says to use like chilled pasta. I don't really have the time to put it in there because I also wasn't thinking and just put all the cucumber in this giant bowl that I'll be mixing everything up in. So I'm just gonna let the pasta hang out in the sink with the cold water that I ran over it, and that's just how it's gonna be. So today's August 2nd. I have been very like not allowing myself, pretend this is a sentence, I just have not been allowing myself to think about going back to school until like today. Honestly, when I sat down to do these videos for August and September, I have like all my videos filmed. So I just haven't been thinking about it. I'm gonna do my back to school shopping later this week, which I'm a little bit excited about because I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I also just don't want to have the back to school stuff hanging around in my house either. Next Thursday, I go into my school for review because we give an August exam for the state exam, just for basically to be able to do like a graduation after summer school for those students that need to complete the state exam to graduate. But then it also benefits any other students in high school that need to take the state exam, that they get this other chance. So I'm going in for a review, and when I do, I'll be able to drop off anything I've purchased. So that's the plan. And go back to school shopping later this week and then bring it to my classroom next Thursday. And then I think I'm also going to try to set it up a little bit, not get too crazy, but just enough that I don't feel overwhelmed later on. So the big change we have to look forward to is actually, there's two of them. There's two rule changes. One of them is that we're going to allow students to wear hoods. We've allowed hats for a few years, which was a struggle. You know, just different teachers feel different ways about things. Hats never really bothered me. I subbed in a district once where hats were allowed, and that was the first time I'd ever seen that. And you know what? It was kind of nice not having to tell kids to take off their hats all the time. But our school has not allowed hoods. And it's always been like, well, it's a security issue that if a kid has a hood up, it obscures them enough that we can't see, you know, what's going on with the security cameras. Our principal came back and said, you know what, it actually has not impeded any investigations, so we're going to allow hoods, which I'm okay with. There is this research, I'll see if I can find the link to it. I've shared it before on my Instagram when I talked about this, that hoods have some kind of like, they biologically comfort people, has something to do with being in the womb. I don't really remember, but I'll link to it if I can find it in the description box if you're interested. So I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a relief that I don't have to constantly tell kids to take off their hoods. But they kind of did like a give and take thing. So they're allowing students to wear hoods this year, but we, for the first time, are going to have a zero tolerance policy on cell phones. So interested to see how this is going to go. I feel like it's going to be a headache for a while, and hopefully we can get everyone on board. I was so frustrated when they shared the announcement. They told us in our June faculty meeting, and then they actually sent out an email to all students and parents, like letting them know that this was coming. They did it like the last few minutes of our last class, and I was trying to do Regents review at that time, so I was ticked off. That last few minutes of school that day were really difficult because, you know, they're already squirrely. I have, you know, my last period is a geometry class, and, you know, they were anxious to get out, which I understand. But then we got, over the loudspeaker, they tell us, teachers, check your email. And then they came back on like 2 or 3 more times about the same thing, and they told us to check our email, but then they told us over the loudspeaker what the email was about anyway, and it was a very frustrating time. And then that email went out, and that was it. I had like 3 minutes left of class. I was trying to get through like one more problem, and yeah, that didn't go well. So I'm sorry about the lighting. This is just real life. Like, this is my real kitchen. It's not as messy on camera as I feel like it is in person, but it is messy, and now the lighting's not that great because it is raining. So I'm now moving on to the red bell pepper. I just cut it the same way, and then I kind of just cut it into strips and then dice those up. I realized this would be a lot more helpful if you could see everything I was doing, but like, I'm one person with one tripod, so and one camera, so we just get the same angle the whole time through, and apologies. The only thing with the cell phone policy that I'm kind of worried about is we had a lot of students using their cell phone as their device, which, I don't know, pros and cons, you know. So this was our first year truly being a one-to-one school, and every student got a Chromebook at the beginning of the year, and this was a whole other issue. It took forever for them to get the Chromebooks. I was trying really hard not to collect any papers or do any paper-based assignments that first week of school, especially because I was pregnant and just like really afraid of germs. So I planned everything to be on Chromebooks for students, and they didn't have their Chromebook till like the following Monday or Tuesday after we started school. And I said last summer that I was going to do like a back to school vlog. This is part of the reason why you didn't get that, is because so much of it was me complaining about I planned this for them and now we can't even do it because they don't have their Chromebooks like every day. So I was like, nobody needs to see me complaining about that. But it was so frustrating, and now going into this year I don't quite know what to expect. But we had so many students, especially in certain courses, that lost their Chromebooks pretty early on in the year, and so they were not given replacements, and they were just using their device to be able to do their schoolwork. And now that they're not going to be allowed to use a phone even for schoolwork, it has me wondering, how is this actually going to work with them not having cell phones? And I feel like those are all the big updates about school. The weird thing with this summer is I haven't really heard anything. Like, I have my school email on my phone, and like I know to take it off, so I'm not like stressed out or bothered by it. But we really haven't gotten very many emails at all from school, so I haven't felt the need to actually completely take it off. Plus, you know, I knew I was doing Regents review in August and stuff like that anyway, and they have reached out about that just to like confirm the schedule and things. So I did keep it on my phone. It has not been an issue, but like I said, I haven't really heard from my school at all, which is very strange. Okay, so now I'm on to the tomatoes. It says to use cherry tomatoes. I'm pretty sure these are grape tomatoes, right? Like, I'm gonna feel silly sharing this later, but I just have some tomatoes. I probably should have more than what I do have. Let's see if I can hold this up without them rolling all over the place. So I bought one of those like big things of these kinds of tomatoes, but I've been using them all week for different things, and I made like a different salad for lunch today. So this is just what's left, and I think it said to have them, and it's supposed to be cherry tomatoes, but I'm gonna cut them into quarters. This has to be like the tiniest one I've ever seen. It's so little and cute. That one just needs to be cut in half. All right, so I have a Pampered Chef knife. Like, it's specifically a tomato knife. It's like a serrated blade. So I'm sorry about the scratching noise if that's something that bothers you. So like I said, I don't really have any other like school updates, but at home, Russell turned 4 this summer, which I cannot believe. He's going to be going to like a daycare that has a preschool program. Where we live, there is not universal pre-K. Like, the other districts around us have it, I think. Actually, one might not. I'm really not sure, but our district that we live in particular does not have it. There is a Head Start program, but we don't qualify for it. I do have the option of bringing him to my school district for to go to school there. I could enroll him, but there's like limited space, so I think it's already full. But the real thing that's been holding us back is just the timing. So I have to be at school at 7:38, and I think the morning program that kind of like, babysits, I don't have a better word, that kind of babysits the kids until the elementary school starts, because they start later than we do, that doesn't start until like 7:45, I think. So just by minutes, I'm not, you know, going to be able to take him there, and it's a bummer because I know that it's a good program. I've heard wonderful things about it, but it's just not going to be an option. We also considered sending him to pre-K with my husband, because my husband's school is actually pre-K through 12. But then can you, like, the school's so far away from where we live. So, you know, school gets out, they all start and end at the same time. But could you imagine like having to bring a 4-year-old with you to a faculty meeting? Like, it just would not go over well. So unfortunately, like, our school districts were not options. So we have to send him to a daycare that has a preschool. And I know he doesn't have to go to preschool. I didn't go to preschool, and you know, I turned out fine, but I just feel like him being in those routines and things would really help. He is a very, very strong-willed, and I just think he needs to have that kind of a buffer before starting kindergarten. So we're enrolling him into daycare that has a pre-K, or a preschool rather. He does music classes that we enroll him in. He's been doing really well there this summer, and he's just made a huge improvement from just the spring session, where he'd be like running around, not listening to directions, being kind of wild, and like just excited to be with other kids, because you know, after everything going on with COVID, he didn't get a lot of exposure to other kids really that, you know, he would have otherwise. So it's just been good to basically have that experience for him. And this summer in that program, he's done amazing. Okay, here's everything so far: cucumbers, red and green pepper, and then the tomatoes. And then we're going to add to that the pasta. So now I'm mixing up what's in there together, because all the vegetables are at the bottom and all the pasta's at the top. So like I mentioned, I had maternity leave. I had a baby last year in October. She turned 10 months old yesterday. She's now crawling. She started clapping for the first time yesterday, so that was really cute. She also does music classes, so she was in her music class today, crawling around, getting to know everyone. She would not clap, because, you know, I got excited and like, oh, she can clap now, because it's part of what we do, and she refused. She's just doing really well, growing so big, and I can't believe she's about to be 1 year old, and I am praying that she walks early, because I want to see the first steps. I'm going to die if she starts walking and it's like, you know, when she's being babysat by my mom and I don't get to be there for that. I feel like my mom would for sure not tell me if it happened, just so I could be excited about it. But that's, you know, just how it goes. Okay, so it's all mixed up. Now I'm going to add in the mozzarella pearls. I love these like a little bit too much. I don't want the juice coming out though. Okay, that's really gross. All right, so I'm just gonna separate them from here a little bit. This was so easy to make. It actually, I just hit 24 minutes of filming time from when I started this, and it probably wouldn't take me as long if I wasn't chatting. That's just how it goes. But I could definitely see myself doing this on a Sunday before school and having this, you know, throughout the week to eat. So I said that I did like pasta salads. There's another one that I'm obsessed with that I plan to show for this video, but I'll do it another time. Right. So I got the mozzarella in. I'm just going to mix it all up. What I would really like to do is share some soup recipes, because that was my favorite thing. Not so much toward the end of the year, but like in the middle of the year when it was winter. Oh my gosh. My husband and I had soups for work like every day, almost every day. It just depended on how long the soup recipe lasted for. So I would like to share some of those. We had like 4, I think, on rotation that we would go through, and oh my gosh, they were so good. If you have any ideas of what you'd like me to chat about while I'm making something, let me know. I feel like I have so many ideas for the next few months. My YouTube channel, like I do 2 videos a month, the 2nd and 4th Sunday. So I'm going to be for sure doing interactive notebook flip throughs, like showing like what my notebook actually looks like and just kind of explaining some of the things that I do and like the way I teach in geometry, which I know is not for everyone. If you don't teach geometry, it's probably not going to be super helpful for you, and I'm sorry, but you know, I'm a geometry teacher. Right. Shaking up the Italian salad dressing. And it basically sounds like you dump the whole bottle in there. I'm just gonna do like a little bit at a time and see how I feel about it. So one of the videos each month will be like a geometry video, but then whatever topic you'd like to hear about for the other videos in the month, let me know. Yeah, so I didn't have a full bottle to start with. This is like one of my favorite dressings. I actually really like using this as a marinade for like steak. That's what my parents always did growing up, or even chicken is really good. So I'm pretty sure we had some of the bottle used up for that. And it looks like everything's pretty well coated here. Okay, super simple. Now I have a red onion sitting over here from a recipe I made earlier, a different salad. I'm kind of tempted to put it in, but I think I'll leave this recipe as it is and then, you know, come back to that for like next time. I'm gonna do a taste test. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna eat on camera. My husband makes fun of me, so I will cover my mouth as I eat because I don't like people to see me eating for some reason. I like it. I'm eager to see what it's like cold. Maybe I'll do an update later. So I think I said this, like, this is probably the 3rd time I said this. This is for dinner tonight. Not for dinner by itself, but it could be. But this is actually supposed to chill. So I'm going to cover with the press and seal and see what it's like inside. And I kind of wish I had a different camera angle because the struggle I just had with this was comical. So I did make it through all of my updates. I have my recipe made. That is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what else you'd like to see on the channel, but that is all. As always, thanks for watching. Oh, and feel free to comment, questions, anything. I think I said that already though.